Know your readers. Imagine you are telling the story directly to them. What puts the light in their eyes? Once you figure out what your readers want to know, delay telling them as long as possible. That's the definition of suspense, and it applies to high art like Madame Bovary as much as to thrillers. Readers of novels actually enjoy having their patience tested. Characters are not pawns in the story. They are the story. Let every development in the plot flow from what they desperately want and are willing to sacrifice for it. Don't just make things happen. Every chapter should present a scene of conflict, internal or external. It can culminate in an exacerbation or a resolution. But be sure to keep the resolutions partial until you reach the very end. Leave a hook to draw the reader to the next chapter. Give every side. If you can't see the other side, then write about something else. In Interface, I show both the positives and the negatives of brain implant technology. Yara, the heroine of my story, has some dark issues. Tyche, the world-class troublemaker, could be the most noble serial mass murderer in all of literature. Everything in your story needs to be sparked by a tension between positive and negative poles. That's what generates movement. That's what simulates life. Ayn Rand wrote an epic novel, Atlas Shrugged, that had some important things to say about society, but it suffers tremendously from being one-sided. How much more impact would her book have had if she had been capable of telling both sides of the story? War and Peace, on the other hand, is a book that comprehends too much of reality to be satisfied with just saying, Russia good, Napoleon bad. And for that reason, it will live on throughout the ages. Learn what to leave out. Moby Dick would have been a better book without all the minutiae about whales and whaling, in my opinion at least. The Old Man and the Sea has sharks in it, but Hemingway doesn't need to tell us the natural history of sharks. He sticks to the story, to the old man himself. And as a rule, a few telling brushstrokes stick in the mind better than paragraph after paragraph of detail. A parting word. Nothing that I have said here is absolute. Every rule has its exceptions, especially concerning something as personal and idiosyncratic as writing. Only take advice that works for you. Let every day be an experiment. Don't be afraid to try something just because nobody else has ever tried it before. Conventional wisdom is rarely wisdom at all. More often than not, it's simply a failure of imagination.